in this thing, but we are just about ready to get action underway once again. I am Joe Stapleton, and joining me in the booth, making his poker commentary premiere / debut, is comedian and actor Michael Ian Black.
Joe, it's a pleasure to be with you, making my poker commentary premiere / debut. Before we get going, one quick question.
Yes, sir.
What is poker?
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Let me introduce the feature table. We should have gone over this earlier. That is a mistake on my part. That is on me. And I should have not have thrown you into this.
It's fine.
Not having explained what poker is.
I'm sure I'll pick it up real quick.
This feature table headlined by Tom Parsons, repping Paddy Power Poker. You know him as Pred. And Benny Glauser, directly just to the right of center. Well, now center to the left of the player in the red hoodie. Benny, of course, one of the winningest players over the last few years. How do you feel about the word winningest? A lot of people
don't care for it.
Yeah.
No. One of the most winningsting players.
You prefer that one?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
How much?
But here in Ireland, they love the language, and I love to play with the language. So
we play with words. That's what we do. So it looks like Benny Glauser starting off with pocket fours.
Interesting that it's pronounced Glauser and not Glazer.
He specifically wrote to me this summer and said, "Hey, I'm going to try to make it more of a point for people to pronounce my name correctly. So if you wouldn't mind."
Totally fair.
Benny Glauser. Kiri defending in the big blind with Jack 10 suited. Ace, Queen, Trey on the flop. Gut shot for Kiri. Fours is still good for now. Benny is an incredibly tough opponent. And he's one of those players that actually, like, if you're wondering how to play spots, just do what Benny does.
Okay.
Just watch Benny, and he won the high roller this week already. 5K high roller for 100K.
Nice.
Deuce of spades on the turn. Benny with the only spade.
Can I say he picked up some outs?
So Benny being ahead.
Also picked up more outs to be further ahead.
There you go, yes. I want you to put your mic a little closer to your mouth.
You got it.
There we go.
Gives him more reason to bet, though, I think is what I was saying.
Yes.
What I meant to say.
Certainly, like, if he thinks he's bluffing,
right,
then he's got spades potentially as some outs. Absolutely. It's picking up equity either way, right?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for answering me in a non-condescending way. I appreciate that.
I'm so glad that you didn't take that as condescending because I was trying.
I didn't.
Okay. I failed that.
1-2, isn't it? And
there you go. Benny did have the best hand, but did fold out a hand that had a fair amount of equity against him.
Okay.
Rams on Twitch asked, how is James doing? Which place is he? James is out. He'll be joining us back in commentary after.
How long are we on the television?
Michael and I do.
It's usually a minimum of 2 hours. They
level.
might keep us on after the next break as well.
Tom's correct. We're going to be on for at least 2 hours, this feature table. And the player he's speaking to is Benjamin Labor, who we saw on a feature table. I think it might have been London. Maybe it was Barcelona. Anyway, very chatty, very fun player.
At this table?
Yeah, the fellow in the white T-shirt there, yep.
He neither seems chatty nor fun.
We'll see, though.
At this point.
Hopefully he shows up like he did before. Apparently formerly deaf and had a surgery that has either, I don't know if he was completely deaf, but has restored most of his hearing. So kind of a feel-good story there.
Now I'm automatically rooting for him.
Yeah,
now.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite at this table? Are you allowed to pick favorites?
You know what's weird is that people are like, you guys are supposed to be
unbiased,
but I'm quite biased.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Why do you have to be unbiased?
I don't know why. But in this particular case, I'm not particularly biased. I like Benny. I would call Benny a friend. Tom seems like a cool guy.
Mostly for high stakes cash.
But sometimes I'm very biased. Like, let's say a Griffin or a Hardigan is out there. And I'm just like, come on!
Sure. About 100?
No, less. Maybe 70 certain hand. 70 something, 72, 73, that sort of.
If you guys watched Celebrity Poker Showdown back in the day, Michael was on at least, what, 2 times?
I think I was on 3.
Did you win one year?
I won my table. It was a 2-table format. You win your
Right.
table, then you go to the final table. I think I won my table 2 times out of 3 and never won the whole thing. But one of my proudest moments was beating Norm Macdonald heads up because he was a great player.
I wouldn't say he was a great player.
I'm saying great
but
player
he
for
played a lot.
amateurs.
He played a lot. He had a lot of poker experience. And I think in that crowd was probably one
That's
of the
what I
better
mean.
players. But what I like about you and I've been impressed about from Michael is that I've been lucky enough to participate in a fair amount of Hollywood-ish games. And I think Michael is one of the best that I've run into in those circles.
Look, I'm no Toby Maguire.
You're no Toby Maguire, but we do have a floor decision happening here.
Because they have like I think like a code bar, you know. So yeah, so you have to put it like 2-3 seconds inside, and then
All right, so whatever's happened is being ruled a raise in the small blind. So something you guys should know about Michael is that he is genuinely a poker fan. And what'd you say? You're a big Brad Owen guy, right? You watch the Brad Owen blogs?
Brad and I have become buddies.
Cool.
Which is great, and I've gotten to know Mimi a tiny
Yeah,
bit.
that's 500.
Yeah, well, I try to ingratiate myself with poker players like yourself, Joe.
Yeah, I'm no player. But the reason why Michael and I eventually, initially started chatting is because you had your avatar on Twitter for a while was a clip from Live at the Bike.
Yeah, it was a dude from Live at the Bike who I just thought he looked funny.
And I noticed that. And then one time you tweeted about poker, and I like outsourced it to my friends. I'm like, what should I say? What should I say to Michael Ian Black? He likes poker. And eventually I just chickened out. It was like too many days went by. If I had replied to a tweet from like 4 days ago, it would have just been weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have a mutual friend, and that's how we became buddies. Who also a poker player, Josh Molina from Sports Night and The West Wing and Scandal.
That's right.
And currently on Broadway.
I watched some of that, yeah.
So if you're DeBarros here, you've got 11 big blinds. That's kind of right on the cusp of shoving.
No, that's well into we're well into the danger zone there. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to shove, depending on your position.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to enter a pot, you're more likely to be all in.
Yeah.
Anywhere from around 22 big blinds to, as below that, depending on your position, depending on the action in front of you.
Whereas you only run kilo games, or you?
Ace Queen for Rice suited, and this is around a starting stack, which at this point is not a lot of chips. Blinds 1,000, 2,000 with a 2,000 big blind ante, so this is like 16 big blinds.
He didn't shove.
Did not shove.
Now I'm questioning everything that you
What
say
I'm
to me,
saying
Joe.
is you can shove from around those ranges. You don't necessarily have to, but let's say that he raised here and someone re-raised him. The money's going in.
Yeah.
And Labor has defended the big blind and missed. Does have a gut shot. And Labor doesn't have a ton of chips himself. Labor always looks like my dad when he's about to eat a spaghetti dinner. He would strip down to his undershirt so he wouldn't get sauce on his regular clothes.
Well, I mean, as advertised, this dude has been incredibly
All
chatty.
right.
Doesn't have the discipline.
So I see on Labor's head, he's got the cochlear implant. He's got
okay.
That's what that is.
Doesn't have the patience.
I think those are held on magnetically because they can be removed.
Cluter 31 on Twitch writes in to say, Michael, always loved your appearances on Reno 911, one of the best shows.
Oh, very
Agreed.
good.
That's a very funny show, created by many of my dearest friends.
What's
and
the
anytime they
station?
ask me to be on it, I am thrilled to be a part of it.
So my manager told me that there's like 4 Reno 911 shows in development right now. So hopefully,
SEAL teams for food and
at
drink
like
companies,
various
so we call in the
places.
old
So
convenience stores
hopefully
and then
we
like-
see you
Great.
on some of those. Action's folded around to Benny. Queen 10. He's going to raise the minimum to 4,000.
Had it for long. That's a rude question, is this? Yeah.
Since you seem to know about cochlear implants, is the word ear in it intentionally?
In Vegas,
That's a great
not
question.
running any mix.
I would imagine.
I've always wondered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, it's a terrific coincidence.
Do you remember when there were those viral videos going around
You don't speak into
where
it
it was
for
like
it, so you're not
babies
gonna be
hearing
used
for the
as a
first
mix.
time? And
Yes.
I wanted to do a promo for us where taking out and adding in
definitely.
our commentary, and a baby being like, oh, like, and obviously the powers that be at our company were like, no, no.
On from Wednesday because the Finton home game, the community free roll.
The ones that would play.
So I played that and then took
Yeah.
Thursday to play the main and then took yesterday off.
Oh, brilliant.
But because
How about yourself? Were you just on for the weekend? or-
Came down yesterday morning.
if I had a game, we might win.
Did you play the turbo or the?
Typically,
no
I would
Finton.
try to hear the
Yeah.
conversation here, but there's 2 different ones going, and it seems like
you
one of
know,
them
they
they
should've played the turbo
don't
with-
want us to hear.
I'd say it's like playing 1B.
Limit
It's
primarily.
a lot harder.
Yeah. Just splashy as well.
Again, you get fishing. It's a lot easier to get fishing properly. Stand a bit of a
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're going to see Tom Parsons in action, Queen 10 suited.
You won't let him.
He'll probably just win this, won't he?
chance of winning. I can't do that.
6-5 offsuit, you call that?
Better.
I don't personally call that.
It's
not-
not zero.
All right, well, I'm put it
In a lot of people's ranges, but big blind defend ranges are pretty wide these days.
Sure.
And he does not defend.
Thank you.
Let's give that one to Parsons.
Let's say he spins.
A lot of chat pros coming in, by the way. Just want to nitpick the amount of big blinds you can shove with. So let's see here. I'll read some of them. So this is Chat Pro Saturday. Jojo says, Dear Joe, as it is a fine Saturday afternoon, may we chat pro you and say, well, actually, I'd say an open shove of less than 12 big blinds is fine.
Thank you. That was
I
my
understand, but I
understanding
think
about
it's
where you
like-
want it to be, but
I mean,
12, 10, something like that.
Look, I think that if you have
what would
22
you
big blinds and the small blind and
For
the button
example,
raises
like-
you, then you're probably
if
going to
you-
shove.
That's different. I'm saying an open raise.
Yeah.
An open raise.
Room.
To me, if you've got
That's
20
what I
big
would-
blinds,
I would-
that's kind of a
you'd
mid
never
mid
face
stack.
that
I was saying just for
5K.
times where you would go all in pre-flop would
Yes.
range from like
Winning
around the
huge.
low 20s
And like
Yes.
and below.
Perhaps
I didn't
we
just
want-
mean
like,
open
a
shoving,
million,
but
I think
yes,
it was,
we're
in, like,
slightly
3 days or
different
something,
definitions.
he was winning huge. Like in like 3 or 4 sessions, it's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. So I was saying I think you're exaggerating. To be fair.
Yeah, it's like, if there was a game for me to put him into, that'd be the hardest game.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to work, is it?
Not against Benny Glauser and not against Ace King suited. Sure isn't.
Well, now he's got a decision, and he lets it go.
Yeah, DeBarros just gets out of the way with the 7s. We see Pon with a 7 in his hand. Back to Glauser. Did you ever play a commentator in anything? I feel like I've seen you with like the headset.
Probably.
Yeah. Maybe in like a Amy Schumer show or something.
Certainly possible.
So David says, always love your commentary and jokes you made. Taking a chance, but can you shout me out? What's a shout out?
So just say hello.
I'll just be like, what's up, David? How's it going? Glad to have you on board.
Yeah, but hopefully a little more cleverly than that.
Okay. I don't do those anyway.
How about something like this? What's up, David? Glad to have you on board.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
like,
Yeah, still not doing it.
Okay.
But
one yet.
I'm glad to learn what it
We
is.
play all the
I mean,
time.
I used to play with him occasionally online. He used to play online. So,
Who's your keep?
I can't tell if they're whispering because they don't want us to hear, or they just don't want to bother the other people at the table.
Right. I'm not feeling great about that 3-bet with, what was it, King 8 plus 3 to the under the gun open. Not feeling great about that.
Yeah, so in a vacuum, I think you're right? I think that that's something that you probably don't want to be 3-betting and under the gun open. My guess is that maybe it's player dependent, and he thinks Benny may be opening light because Benny is Benny. But I think that rationale actually is kind of even a little backwards too, because even if Benny is 3-betting light, he just might stick it in your face with King 4 off or whatever light thing he opened with,
right?
And you still have to fold. So I think you're right to be a little, to think that's a little suspect.
Games like this, 3 to 7,
Joe, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because probably a lot of people like me watch these poker streams and think to themselves, commentating can't be that hard.
Yeah, it's not.
And now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, yeah, it's not. But my question to you is, what's the number one lesson if somebody wants to do poker commentary of any kind in terms of being a good commentator?
Wow.
Do you ever just think like, okay? Like
well, I guess it would be to be good at one particular thing at least, whether it's analysis or being funny, or in James's case, he can do a little of both those things, but he's like a very professional, eloquent broadcaster that hits his marks, that knows the exact timing of things, that understands the emotion, when to speak, when not to speak. I don't know. I know that you said what's one thing, and that was like 7.
Oh, we could have a 3-bet incoming here. Nope. Lets it go. And which of those things are you? Because I haven't heard any of them yet.
We aim. I'm basically a troll with a microphone. Oh, there you go. My boss has texted me. Don't upset your boss.
Yeah, that's probably smart advice.
King 10 tray, top 2 for Parsons.
What do you think? Does he check it back?
Not usually.
And not this time.
So in tournament poker, folks are you get a fold here, right? You might think to yourself, I should have checked. You're trying to build a pot most of the time. So the amount of money you lose then when you bet and they fold is less than the money you win when you eventually build a pot. When they have King Jack and they call you, or King Queen, and then the bets get bigger and bigger on subsequent streets exponentially because you're betting a percentage of the pot.
We call that leveraging.
You know this stuff already, by the way. Don't let the questions fool you. Mike's a pretty good player.
Do we call it leveraging?
I don't think I've heard it called leveraging. No.
I was watching a video, GTO video, and they were calling it leveraging.
Look, I'm not the guy. You know what I mean? I'm somewhat antiquated and was never the best strategist to begin with.
That was just PLO as well?
I get by on my looks, mostly.
I guess that's why you're rarely seen.
You're correct. We just don't want. It's like you can only give them a little nibble.
I knew like 2-3 years ago was happening. I knew Gus was there.
Parsons has a nice little hand there.
I've really grown to look at pocket 10s almost like aces. I get pretty excited for pocket 10s. And Benny will be going nowhere with ace-jack in the small blind.
Is he going to raise? He's kind of in one of those raise or fold situations, right, in the small blind?
3-betting is absolutely acceptable out of the small blind. And it looks like Benny has also just called. And Tarasian is going to peel with 7-4 diamonds. King, king, deuce. Not a terrible flop for pocket 10s.
Now, if you're Benny, what do you do here? Do you just release? I mean, you're ahead of a lot of his range.
A lot of times a big ace will call once, because sometimes what will happen is obviously you can improve on the turn, or sometimes your opponent shuts down and you can just get to showdown for free, or they'll give you an opportunity to try to steal the pot. Ace-jack high could be the best hand right now. Nine of hearts on the turn.
And if you're Parsons, you're going to check this back, or you still you feel like you have enough equity. He feels like he has enough equity. He's going to fire.
Enough equity, and also, a little bit of protection, too. Obviously, a lot of the hands that Benny's going to call with are, ace-jack, ace-queen.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of ace-highs. And also, you can get value from ace-high, too. Like I said, ace-jack might think that they have the best hand a lot of the time. I just know, me playing against Benny Glaser, I'm just trying to get to showdown. Like, I'm just like,
right.
I check. I just don't want to get raised. And as you see, like, the pros don't, like, go crazy blasting off these days the way they used to. Like, there's not many people that are just going to, like, punish you for making a bet there. There's way more, like, checking and calling in the current metagame than there was back when you and I started playing. Speaking of which,
yes.
So your introduction, your love of poker developed when?
Really, when I was a kid, we used to play around the kitchen table for just for chips,
Yeah.
But to me, it was incredibly exciting. And then I played all through my childhood, and then started playing seriously in my 20s. There's a comedian named Eddie Brill who used to host a well-known New York game. All the comedians would play in, and I started playing there. It was like, $40.
Can you name drop some of the people? Because there's some.
Sarah Silvermoon would play in that one a lot. David Tell, did he play? Can't remember.
Did Norman Chad play in that game sometimes as well? Okay.
Or if he did, not when I was
you were there. Yeah.
But that was fun. And then I went to L.A. and discovered that you could play cards there. And would go all the time and play 2-4 limit and 3-6 limit. And I played a lot of stud.
Given the way I've heard you speak of L.A., that must have been one of the best things about L.A.
It's the only thing about L.A. I liked. Pocket 10s again. Look at this. Pocket 10s are cheap.
This time for Danny Pike. And Jack 10, a great hand to pick up in the big blind. A hand it's really tough to play from many other positions, but the big blind's a great excuse.
Mm-hmm. Easy call.
Yep. Doesn't look thrilled with it.
Easy to fold, though.
It is a pretty easy hand to get away from. Queen, Queen 4, one of those easy boards to get away from Jack 10. And Pike in a similar position that we saw the pocket 10s before. These sorts of paired boards are pretty good for pocket 10s. I remember I played one of my first times ever, like, really playing in Vegas. I was in a tag team event.
Like S9 suited or something there, buddy? Or on there? Or very far away?
With a buddy, and I ended up playing a pot against Phil Helmuth.
Mm-hmm.
And I had pocket 10s, and the flop came like Jack, Jack 4, and he bet, and I just mucked. I was like, he probably has a jack. Like, it's Phil Helmuth. He definitely has.
He obviously has a jack.
Obviously has a jack.
He's really good at poker. He must have a jack.
Exactly. Yes, that was my rationale at the time. And my friend who I was partnered with had been playing poker for the exact same amount of time. He was like, "You idiot!" He's like, "Are you crazy?" Jojo on Twitch says, Mr. Joe, I haven't seen El Comentador recently. Is he okay? Actually, no. El Comentador died of COVID. I don't know if, yeah, that's a bit of a downer, but he didn't make it through the pandemic. So that's why you don't hear from El Comentador anymore. Remind me to tell you about El Comentador later.
Believe me, I already jotted it down. Tell me the whole thing.
Yeah.
Queen 10 opens. The hijack. Kiri has an easy defend, I would think.
Yep. Definitely most folks defending any ace. Ace 6 is the worst ace in many ways.
Mm-hmm. In every way,
in every way, yeah. Wow, okay, so Kiri with a somewhat unfortunate flop here. Bottom pair. Pike hits it hard. Kiri with really no choice but to take one off. 9 of diamonds on the turn.
He can fold this turn, I would think.
Pretty bad card, yeah, with the diamond, the straight card, the over card, the double barrel from Pike. You know, you can level yourself here sometimes into thinking that, you know, you're still ahead of like Queen Jack and King Jack and Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace Jack. One more straight card. Kiri checks again. And Pike checked it back? All right. Welcome to the Irish Poker Open.
Not an unreasonable check back, I think. There's a 4-liner to a straight. The flush is out there. What happens if he gets check shoved? Not horrible.
I didn't even notice that, honestly.
Remind me again what your special skill is in commentating?
It is not any of this. It's getting my celebrity friends to come in and do an hour of guest commentary.
Who's been your favorite non-Poker Pro guest commentator?
Non-Poker Pro guest time. Well, Kim Caramelli came in during the Bahamas. That was pretty fun.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
Love her.
She was really great.
Fold it. Good man.
And her shtick was mostly to berate me also.
Yes. Well, you're fun to berate.
I'm beratable. Who else? James has a better memory for these things. We mostly get poker pros in to do guest commentary.
I would think, yeah.
We had. Are you aware of the meme "Hide the Pain" Herald?
No.
Here, let me show you. You'll recognize him, I think. I mean, I still can't even believe this happened.
We're going to get a 3-bet here from Rice. How much will it be?
He came in and just did guest commentary in Prague because he's a Czech person.
Huh. Okay.
And we did a publicity stunt where he played EPT Prague and he came in and did guest commentary. That was kind of strange.
So Rice 3-bets to 15. We get a fold. Pike should fold. I mean, the problem is Rice isn't going anywhere, so you can't come over the top, and he folds. And there's just not a lot of good flops for you if you got King 8 of spades out of position.
Oh, and also someone just reminded me that at the Bahamas we had David Costabile came in the booth after playing the event, and he was awesome. That was
He's
really
great.
Fun. Yeah,
I've known him for years and years and years. He was in a clown group
talking about teaming up
called New Bozina. They were like a sort of vaudevillian clown troupe, and that's why I got to know him years ago in New York City. They were great. They were really fun and funny. And then I've gone on to follow his career ever since.
We've interacted with him a few times, and every time very gracious, very fun, very happy to be there.
Yep.
And we sort of know him too because I guess he was friends with Brian Koppelman from way back then as well. And Brian, of course, wrote the most famous poker movie of all time, probably. Certainly Hold'em movie.
Rounders.
Good fold with queens.
Yes.
Good queens fold.
Never seen it.
Thank you.
Is that a bit?
That's a bit.
Okay. I won't say who it was, but Poker News was trying to do like a staged reading of Rounders during the pandemic, and I asked a different celebrity friend if he wanted to be in it, and he was like, honestly, I don't like Rounders.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I just don't think it's very good. And so that's why I won't say who it is, but I was like, wow, who doesn't like Rounders?
It's an interesting spot for Glaser?
For Glaser, yeah.
Glaser.
Microphone?
We've got Kiri with King Queen first. Probably will fold to the 3-bet despite being on the button. There it goes. And Labor with pocket fours.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
But this is a
he's shoved.
Shove fold spot, yes. And he is going to get the pocket fours in. That will get rid of Glaser.
Yes.
How much?
And we will be flipping.
They should just run it a couple times.
Like the State versus Reno 911, one of these two things has a slight mathematical advantage.
It doesn't make sense what you just said, but I enjoyed it anyway.
But this is even better.
I'll take ace king. You want to take fours?
I'm in. I'll take the State.
All right. I guess I'm taking Reno 911. I think we're going to see it on the flop.
And the flop is ace, king, 10. This is the way we like to do it, though. Top pair for Tarosian.
It's a sweat.
Flush draw for Labor. Also has the 2 red 4s. Dano Crisp on Twitch says, rooting for Labor. Misses the turn.
Hit that spade.
Needs to hit a spade or a 4 on the river.
No.
No dice. Labor heads for the door. Oh, rhyming is another thing.
That was
Yeah.
very good, and what I liked about it was he didn't oversell it.
Didn't oversell it, and typically I wouldn't draw attention to it either, but
the chatty and hilarious Labor stands, buttons his pants, and makes his way for the exit.
Are you going to go for
you're getting the hang of it.
I'm on the big blind.
You're painting a story with words.
That's right.
That's what you're doing.
You're trying to make the audience have a feeling, like any other form of entertainment.
Tarosian, 103 big blinds. You got to feel pretty good about that. And DeBarros has to do something
long day,
soon.
still plenty of time.
Yeah, that is nearly the extreme danger zone right there for DeBarros.
Well,
I'll give you another flip.
all he has to do is double up 4 or 5 times. He's right back in this thing.
Anyone that's hard that knows what they're doing. No, of course I don't.
The winner of EPT Barcelona this year came back from a big blind.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty incredible.
What's that person's name?
Bendinelli. Andrea Bendinelli? Yeah, Andrea James. James is like...
He's like, I'm off duty.
Yeah.
He's literally sitting right next to us.
When I do play,
You got to rest your voice.
It could be good.
Jastraki with a better memory than me, but this is true. When Labor was eliminated from Prague, he stood at the table in disbelief for like 2 minutes. The guy did not want to leave. I do remember that now. It was heartbreaking.
Was it a cooler situation, or it was just one of those things? He was just stunned.
Giuliano Bendinelli, sorry.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, and there's a chance.
if we found the mix line up.
I'm lucky I remember the Bendinelli part.
I could have like called as well.
Obviously the players.
I thought that was his whole name, Bendinelli.
Bendinelli.
But it's more like my hand. I think could probably do both, but seems like fine for me to shove.
He still wins.
Now, is there a kind of general strategy for day 2 of a? Is it a 3-day or a 4-day thing?
This will be a 4-day event. Typically, the events we cover are 5, 6, and 5 in the final table, I guess. But
in my group.
I mean, it seems like day 2, you don't necessarily. I mean, I guess it depends where you are, but
In case you didn't know,
it's kind of more of the same. It's just you're trying to accumulate chips. There is a bit of a shift around the bubble depending where your chip stack is.
Right.
Then things change significantly, but it's just a marathon. It is trying to keep up with the blinds. There are probably people out there that have some sort of formula as to how many big blinds per hour you're trying to win for tournaments, but we don't talk about that as much as you would in like a cash game.
Now, I am more of a cash game player. I rarely play tournaments, so my tournament knowledge is close to nil, as evidenced by my commentary.
Yeah, obviously, playing through the streets has many similarities. But I understand why cash games are more attractive.
He went to uni
for certain people.
I just don't have the patience, I think, to sit there for 4 days to min cash.
Great man.
Yeah, and in this particular case, we think that we probably won't reach the money today, so we will have to, we're talking 2 full days.
That's where I met him. I met him in
the organizers of this event told me that they did not think we would hit the money today.
Wow.
I was 19.
James has literally just run out of here to go prove me wrong, which is how we get to the bottom of most things here, is I make a statement.
He just fucking loved the game.
Then James goes off to prove me wrong.
All right, you've got 9-8 of hearts. You're shoving here. You have to shove here. You got the button.
There it goes. See, you're not so bad at tournaments.
That looks, that's a call, I think.
Just depends on what way you clarify gambling.
Yeah. All sorts
And
of
here comes the call. Oh,
Thinking about it.
does not call. You can. Look. Deuces, I can understand not calling. You're never ahead.
Right.
Good luck, guys.
And Pike does, in fact, make the call. And that's the other thing. You have player to act behind. You're in the big blind. It's a call with the deuces.
Right.
With one player to act behind, you can throw in the 8 big blinds there, and then the big blind is like raise, and now you're like, oh, God, now you get a fold, or you get it in with playing even bigger pot with deuces. So closing the action is a very big thing in tournament poker. And a king right in the window. Going to be pretty tough for 8-9 to catch up here. It's going to be runner, either way you slice it.
Well, we got a sweat.
Oh, we do have a sweat.
Every time.
Brick on the river.
Sorry, what? That is the right river, yeah? Sorry, that's not the right river.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
And that's going to be it for Jabaros.
Just a horrible feeling
Yeah, she's a
when you get eliminated in a tournament.
Like,
Yeah.
We'll check the burns. Like 3 bets.
So
Everybody
Oh,
tries to play it
Jewish
off. They try to be cool.
Elios.
Inside,
Yeah,
you're
Sunday.
seething.
seething, and also like I would usually like trip or forget something at the table and have to come back. It's hard to make a graceful exit. There he is, everybody. The face of the Irish Poker Open, Fint in hand, wearing the same suit that he wore when he final tabled this event back in 2017. Sitting next to Paul Newey. Don't want to ignore Paul. Paul, a regular on the European circuit. And speaking of painful exits, there were some notable exits this level. Steve O'Dwyer out, the actual defending champion of this event. Will Kassouf out. And Parker Talbot, a.k.a. Tonka, all busto this event. By the way, Steve O'Dwyer has told me that he's over the lucky chair thing.
Don't take a part.
Okay.
So last year, he dragged a chair from every table, calling it his lucky chair. And he brought it with him this year. He kept it last year, brought it with him this year. After his third bullet, said that he'd squeezed all the luck out of it and ditched it. But he is out.
Kassouf, is he that controversial fella?
One and the same. The one that Griffin and Kassouf had the...
Yes, they had some words.
They had some words at the World Series. And Griffin... I don't want to say Griffin goaded him into going all in because it was aces versus kings. So it was probably going to happen anyway. But that was a pretty magical moment in poker television, in my opinion.
Now, if you're Pompon, I think this is just a natural c-bet spot. You opened. That's your board.
Back in your day, they would call this a razor's board. Now they call it a range advantage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it hits Ponpon's range more than it hits Benny's range. Ponpon with the helicopter pitch in there, maybe trying to flash a card to Benny.
What was the result?
Pon is now the guy I'm rooting for
Like,
because it's so enjoyable to say Pon.
I've got the set 10, and he's got.
Hardigan has engaged the widget,
But it's come between the diamond
and he's saying that if we're paying 15% of the field, we should make the money in level 16 or 17, and we're going to play through level 20 today.
All right, well, there you go.
But it's like crazy. You're obviously going to...
What if we're only
show
paying
bias
12% of the
or
field?
whatever is going on.
I have to hold on to any shred of me not being wrong moments ago. This is how it works. It's called moving the goalposts. I don't know if you have ever heard of that phrase. Even 12%, we're supposed to hit it in level 18 or 19.
Kiri takes that one down uncontested. Kiri, got to figure, is he the lone Irishman at the table right now?
Well, that's a good question. We'll take a look next time they throw the chip counts up. There's a flag on every...
I'm going to call him the hometown favorite.
Okay.
Now, there's your boy right there.
That's right. On the left side of the screen, we've got Spraggy, who is all of our boy. And to his right, to his left, to our right, is Chris Strigalis, who has a very fancy title at PokerStars that I can't remember off the top of my head, and hopefully it doesn't get me fired. But we're all big fans of Chris, one of the brains behind the operations of the great poker you actually play on PokerStars. Chris, along with Michael here, has been a guest on the Poker in the Ears podcast. Chris's episode, very informative about how some of the things work behind the scenes. You know what happened when you were on our podcast? I had a terrible internet connection that day, or you did, and I couldn't really have the back and forth with you that I wanted to. So it was a lot of asking a question, then trying to decide when you were finished answering it, because I was just like taking shots in the dark.
Well, I had a good time. I think I was unaware of that, which just goes to show your professionalism.
That's cool. I was quite nervous because that was like our first time actually speaking, I think.
King 9 here. Ever squeezing? Cutoff open. Button calls.
I don't think this is a typical squeeze spot for King 9.
I know it's not.
But ever is a good question. I don't know. We'll see. I try not. So one thing that some commentators do, they try to predict what's going to happen. What I do is I like to see what happens and then say what I think the rationale is behind it.
Makes sense.
As someone who is, you know, I don't like being wrong. I'd rather see what happens. Now, this is fun, though. This is real fun.
Pretty good flop for Jack 9, although nobody has a club.
Jack 9 flops straight. Penny flops a pair and a straight draw. Straight draw for Rice. As Michael said, no clubs for anybody.
Seems like it would be, just in fairness, they should all say, I don't have a club. You know?
Yes, I agree with that. Like, let's just all agree. No one's playing the flush draw here. That's the kind of poker I would be way more into. Like, don't be mean. Nobody be mean here. Did you have a club? No? Okay, now we'll just play straightforward.
What do you do if you're Benny? I mean, this is a rough flop for you.
Yep, you do exactly that.
That's what I would do, too.
I really wanted you to play this event. Mostly, it would be like a win-win. Either I would be right, I'm like, try the event, you might go deep, or you're just miserable, and I just laugh at that.
I wouldn't be miserable, but I mean, I just know that I'm dead money when I go into these things. Again, as evidenced by my commentary.
I think you know the answer to most of these questions that you're asking.
Am I putting the ball on the tee and letting you swing away?
Yes.
I don't know.
And I'm whiffing some of them. You're like, Stapes, you were supposed to get that one right. That was a softball, buddy. So Pike is bet 7,500. And Rice folds it, and I don't blame him.
No. Because I mean, this is my amateurish take on it. You're open-ended, you hit, you don't know if you're good.
It's hard to hit in the first place.
Right.
And then, yes, they used to call that dirty outs. I'm sure there's some fancier name for it now, but.
And they're showing the rugby on the big screen out there. Big rugby thing going on in Dublin this weekend.
Yes, right? That's why we took the dinner break early yesterday, because they were afraid that if we took it at the scheduled time. There's all the flags, by the way, of the players at the feature table. Three.
Oh, we got three.
Irish persons.
Okay. So Kiri no longer the hometown favorite.
They were afraid that the dinner break happened as rugby was letting out, that no one would be able to get like a meal anywhere, because it's right down the road where this where yesterday's game was. I don't know if that one is close, but
10-7.
You can call it once.
Players dropping pretty quickly here, I guess, as to be expected.
Yeah, well, now that James said that we're going to make it to the money, they got to speed it up. And they are paying 12.5% of the field. And Nick O'Hara, running the main event, confirms we will make the money tonight, probably after the dinner break.
What'd you say, 12%?
12.5%.
12.5. So that is 246 plus 24.
Can you really do this math?
I was about to, and then you screwed up my
All right, be quiet.
the arithmetic.
All right, everybody shut up for a second.
That's 268 people plus a half.
Oh, here comes James.
Checking my math. Pocket 10s
That number,
again.
by the way, that number is going to change. The 2463 is going to change. So what happens is there's always a few no-shows, and that they'll have not been added into the total field yet. So they just add that money to the prize pool as if they had entered and gone broke already. So
Curie
that
flopping huge against pocket 10s.
Yeah, this is flopping huge against better queens as well. So it's going to be just over 300 probably who get paid in the end. And Parsons does have the redraw now with clubs.
Hometown favorite. Going to win this one.
It's a great spot to be able to bet here and not worry about, oh, did my opponent hit the king on the end? You wish they would.
So if you're Parsons, what missed?
Yeah, what are you beating, I guess
Yeah,
is what
nothing.
you're asking? Not a whole lot. Pure bluffs,
Yeah.
of which I
mean, ace of clubs, ace jack of clubs, something like that. I mean, ace jack with the ace of clubs.
Right. And it looks like Parsons is a non-believer. He is going to pay it off.
This one.
Yeah, there's not a ton of hands that totally missed there, I guess. Jack 10, Jack 9. Yeah, lots of naked clubs, I guess, that somehow didn't also pair. I didn't see the amount, by the way, relative to the size of the pot. Sometimes someone just bets something so small in the end, too, that you're just like, oh, I have 10s here, and I only have to be right one out of every 6 times for...
Every time I think that, and when I'm in a pot, I'm never right. I mean,
You're not right 1 in 6
That's
times.
right.
It's more like 1 out of
It's-
every 1,000.
That's right.
Yeah. Leger says, I will try to ask again, what year was the highest field for IPO before this year? I wouldn't know, because the IPO is a different event.
I checked the river, Tom, do that?
No.
That's the, what is it, the International Poker Open is the IPO?
kind of being
No, I
snippy a
believe
little bit,
that.
Joe. I don't really understand
That's
that.
another one of my things.
I kind of
Okay.
wanted to fold, but you sized it well, so.
They were snippy first, I just want to say, with the I will try to ask again, and then a colon. A goddamn colon.
The inclusion of the colon,
Yeah.
that's very aggressive. I agree.
Everybody at London's moving over.
Oh, where did this kid come from?
Yes, we had 2. By the way, here's another skill that you need if you want to do poker commentary.
Know who's at the table?
Not knowing, because you get that information, but if you want to announce the 2, go ahead, Michael, if you want to announce the 2 latest people to take their seats here.
Oh, sure. Well, you got this fella, Jevgenis Sapernenko, and Swaraj Shamkuar. Swaraj Shamkuar, that's not so bad. Jevegenijs. That's rough.
Yevgenis.
Yevgenis. No, Eugene.
That wasn't bad, by the way. That was pretty good.
Thanks. The equivalent of Eugene.
Yes, that's in seat 3. Yevgenis just joined the table.
Every time you get to a round,
And in seat 2 is Swaraj Shamkuar.
you come out of London, you get to Welling Garcia, Welling Green, Hatfield, Stevenage, Electric Party, every roundabout you go to.
Now, how do they determine who's going to come on up to the final, the feature table?
That's a
then?
great question. So, a lot of misconception. People think we pick random people and put them at the feature table. Not how it works. The tables are set, they're done by a random draw, and we look and we go, as a whole, which table do we think looks interesting? Then we move them up to the feature table. And then as seats open here, they break a table. They'll go, okay, when there's 8 seats around at various tables, they'll break a table, send those 8 players to 8 different tables, and then one of them or 2 of them will end up here to fill the empty seats at random. So they're not drawing feature table. They're drawing whatever table number this table is out in the field. Let's say this is table 20.
Right.
You get table 20. Oh, table 20 is the feature table, heading up that way.
And that seems like that is how it should be done.
Correct.
I'm agreeing with that.
Yes.
I don't quantity rather than.
It's been a long time since anyone has
100,000 under.
finagled things for TV tables and tournaments. I'm not saying it's never happened. Not on this tour, ever, certainly. But way back in the day of TV poker. And they might have been like, oh, why don't we get Phil Ivey up at the feature table kind of thing.
Right.
But all of that is determined by the actual tournament staff, who goes to what seat. We have nothing to do with it.
Big whiff for everybody.
Yeah, 3 ways to this flop. 7-6-6.
Bet 5,500. Call.
Now, since I've been sitting here, we've only seen one checked flop, meaning no c-bet.
Yeah.
And that was the pocket 10s versus the queen 6.
Check. Bet 7,500.
I like this bet by Curie.
Certainly being in position here helps. And does get the better hand to fold.
I had a customer.
All right, we've got some more eliminations. Big names who will not be making the money, including Neil Farrell, Alex Kulev, known online as Future of Me, Calm Chan, who is a local, I believe,
Buy London if you're going to buy high-end.
Miguel Kusama, who is the chip leader at the start of the day, who had 660,000? Is that a typo?
Our swimming pool sauna is good here. It's good.
That's
in London. That's in London.
23 starting stacks?
Right, it's a £3.7 million property.
That's
why.
Now, if I'm that dude,
yeah.
my strategy is I put my stack on the table, and then I go hang out. I go have lunch.
Yeah, go kiss the Blarney Stone.
Yeah, maybe I go disco dancing for a couple hours. I'm not doing anything.
And apparently that is not a typo. That is confirmed. Started with 660,000 today.
That's an amazing
When we look into
fall.
invest
No,
ton.
300 grand.
And yeah,
I sometimes feel like you don't get to a stack that big unless
Yes.
you're playing an insane number of hands, and sometimes your luck doesn't continue, and then you're out before the money. But
This is the truth. I wouldn't lie to you.
we'll have to keep in mind when we get to the bubble what the average stack is and see if 660,000, where that ranks at that point. It still might be a chip leader.
I would think.
At that point of the day.
People I know that have had
I got moved left earlier and I moved back right.
This has not been a table of sparkling personalities.
Yeah, I wish Benny and his table. Who's sitting next to Benny? That is Danny Pike. I wish that they were, like I said, they may be just trying to keep it quiet so that they don't disturb the other people at the table. But I wish that they were engaging everyone else. But that gives us a chance to chat at least, because if
And
they were,
it's been a delight to this point.
he actually stuck his finger down his throat when he said, right after he said delight. You guys couldn't see that.
No, I'll tell you what's been a delight for me is just by sitting here in this booth with you, I can now write off this entire trip.
That's 100% true. And we
Curie has ace king. He's making a little run here.
clip that for your accountant.
Plus.
Oh boy, here we go. Saparenko.
Raise 12.
Sapranenko
Raise 12.
is going to 3-bet out of the small blind. Pon's going to have to fold king queen in the big, I think. Now the small blind is also a place where players are going to be 3-betting light most often too.
Plus.
But yeah, there goes the king queen, and Curie jams. Well, that's a. And when you don't get snapped here, you're feeling
It's about 70, yeah?
better.
Yeah.
About 70. We think it's an all-in for closer to
Close
90.
to 80, I think.
Okay, we got 3 different choices here. We'll get to the bottom of it.
What do you think about this shove? I mean, it was what did it go? Went to 412? Is that what it went? 4 to 12?
Yeah.
To 87.5?
It felt a little big, but it's really like what is that? 45 bigs if it's really truly 90,000, which isn't an insane number to get in pre-flop ace king after.
Sure. I mean, I guess if you 4-bet there, it's. I mean, you don't have a choice. I guess you sort of have to shove there because if you 4-bet there, if you can't fold.
You're never 4-bet fold.
Top,
yeah,
right,
you're never 4-bet folding, and then what happens is sometimes like when you 4-bet or just call and miss, then you're kind of in no man's land. So a lot of players like to see all 5 cards and make sure they get their full equity.
Yep.
But this here, 27 to 73%, is lower than we would expect for Ace King's equity.
Yeah, I would say. Did a lot of aces fold? Did we see that? I mean, I'm not paying attention.
I don't
it's not my job.
Remember a lot of aces and kings folding, but it doesn't mean that they didn't.
Tough call here, I think, if you're Sapernenko. You've got what are the blinds at? 2,000. So you've got plenty of blinds if you want to let this go.
I fold.
Yeah.
And Sapernenko elects not to take what would be at best a flip. And that's what Darren also said here on YouTube. 46 big blinds, you could fold for a better spot.
It is Chat Pro Saturdays, so Darren and I are in agreement.
Yes, you are.
I mean, what's the worst hand you're up against there is probably ace-king. Maybe ace-queen suited.
Here we go. Both Spragues still alive in this event. Marley Sprague involved in a hand here.
If memory serves, Marley Sprague has far more chips than her husband.
I don't know how you would know that.
Because we saw him. A few minutes ago.
Okay.
Good memory. That's also essential for commentating.
And it does elect to let that one go. Ruabag's calling Marley and Spraggy the king and queen of poker. I feel like that title is kind of up for grabs right now.
Sure, feels a little overstated to me, though. Certainly minor royalty. I'll give him minor royalty.
Like a Duke and
Duchess?
Duchess?
Yeah, Duke and Duchess.
Actually, Duke is a way cooler title anyway. Pike gets a walk in the big blind with kings.
You're running so well. You fold tens, yeah? Yeah. I thought you fold tens. See that?
I think we may be nearing the end of our time together.
That's devastating,
Michael.
I got it in the other day. Folds over.
Rory in chat says there's nothing regal about Spraggy. He does. No, he's got like the genetics of a of royalty.
I had a hand you would raise it.
Yeah.
Queen 10.
How do you know what I raised it?
Because you've shown Queen 10 like 6 times.
Top 60. That's all about it.
Every time you raise it, put you on Queen 10.
I'm a little disappointed that in our time together we have not seen any monster pots. We haven't seen
Let's not talk about you having
anything
Queen 10.
particularly
I had Queen 10 in the same hand.
I got to work
explosive.
in an IMDb flip.
When I
Yep.
was under the gun, like I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was there crying, you're all shooting chips in and what I'd have had the nuts. It was disappointed him to get half.
Okay, we're going to see
Got it for you both.
Sapernenko and Curie so far in this pot. Benny in the big blind. Pocket fives. Okay, well, you may get your wish. Who knows? We could really hope for a car crash here.
Well, let's see an ace and a 5 on the flop.
3 players.
Flop is king. Excuse me, queen, tray, 2 clubs.
Check.
I so desperately wanted there to be a king. I just called it anyway. Checks around, 6 on the turn.
You take the lead here if you're Glauser?
If I'm Glauser, I know whatever I do is correct, but I'm not sure that he will. Does indeed.
I see why you're not in the prediction business.
Yeah, no, I don't do the predicting.
If you're Curie, I think you can let it go. Why not? What are you hoping for here? You got the ace. If a club comes, you could do a little something.
I think a lot of players will see someone like, maybe he'll get curious. Thank you, James. Thank you for that. I think sometimes you just give it an extra second because you look at Benny Glaser and you go, oh, the pro's just betting with nothing here.
Yeah.
The pro's got nothing. And then you're like, nah, but they probably have something.
Well, in the, what have we been here, an hour? In the hour or so that I've been here, I have not seen Benny get out of line even once.
Right, exactly.
So I guess as I'm sat here, I might as well just start speaking to you guys.
Welcome back, James Hardigan. Wait, is this your first time in the box today?
It is, Joseph.
Since playing?
I have basically spent the last 90 minutes recovering.
Yeah, how do you feel?
Look, I know that I gave you a very hard time because I think it's fair to say that throughout 2020 and 2021, I'm sure it was in many online home games that you were also playing in, Michael, Joe ran horribly and spent a fair amount of time voicing his frustration with how he was running.
I had nothing else to report, right?
Which I dismissed as whining, basically told him to get over himself. And now I have nothing but sympathy. Now I get it. Now I feel that we've traded places. And again, this is part of the Freaky Friday stuff that I desperately want to end because it hurts. It really, really hurts.
And do you want to recount the hand that busted you?
Today,
Ace-5 and 4s?
I think yesterday's, the aces versus 10s, was worse. Today, he got it in with a set against quite a big draw, and had a lot of equity against me, and kind of it's a very standard spot. It's just to do 3 bullets is kind of like it goes against my natural kind of.
James is a little tight in real life too.
Yeah.
Close. Bar.
So I think this is going to be the last hand at this blind level, by the way. I think we're going to move on to the next level at the conclusion of this hand, which, as things stand, could be another win for Benny Glaser. Has 3-1 favoritism here with the 4s against the ace-5 suited.
I'd like to see a bet here. Why not? I'd like to see around a half-pot bet. I know nobody likes the half-pot bet. I like it.
Yeah, half-pot's kind of on the outs these days.
And he bets just about half-pot. Thank you.
Yes, Ribs, I did fire another bullet today, and thank you, PokerStars, for allowing me that third and final bullet. It does mean that I officially made day 2. And that means that the second free roll will trigger tonight. There will be a 15K free roll.
I have not plugged the free roll enough today, that's true.
But just to be clear, those of you who are getting, I think, a little bit greedy asking for a 25K free roll, that was dependent on me making the money. I don't think we can push to that. But you are going to get the 15K free roll this evening for me making day 2.
All right, well, if that's the last hand of the level, that's it for me and Michael and Black. Michael, thank you very much for joining us for now. I hope you had fun.
It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Joe, for having me. This was great. And I'm going to go lose some money playing cash.
Cool. I'll escort you over there.
My thank you to Mr. Stapleton and to Mr. Michael Ian Black, our special guest star commentator for the day.
Would be tempted to buy in a location that
Find out which one of Joe's Hollywood Home Games chum will join us on the stream tomorrow.
So that, you know, in terms of rental, like I can take advantage of it as well.
Is Josh Molina jumping on a flight as I speak?
And
First you come out.
no one complain.
Picking on me.
I know, right?
Now, I'm not the only member of the PokerStars commentary team to have not made it very far through day 2.
You didn't even play Kings.
Sadly, 2017 Irish Open champion Griffin Bencher will not be winning a second Irish Open title. We did see Griffin on the feature table earlier on today, and we saw Griffin eliminated during the first session of play. But his loss is your game, because you get his words of wisdom on the stream.
Hey everyone. Like 3 months a year or something. Like,
Welcome to the Losers Club, Griff.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily inclined.
I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I am significantly more of a commentator than I ever will be player. I'm very happy to be back where I belong. I'm back in my natural habitat. This is what I like looking. Other people suffering pain and not me.
I'm actually just disappointed that Michael in Black missed my bit, my laptop bit when I got here. He didn't catch it.
No.
There's a lot of benefits to living in them areas.
Ah.
Yeah, but unfortunately he missed it.
Joe likes to keep the big talent away from you.
I know. I almost had him. For those wondering at home, I changed my background to an image of him from Wet Hot American Summer, but he missed it. I'll get him next time. So how's this feature table?
I've only just joined. I mean, obviously we've got Benny, who's already won a 5K in this festival. We've got Tom Parsons, who we saw make a deep run in the PSPC. He was a Platinum Pass winner and represents Paddy Power Poker.
A lot of people love it there. A lot of people live there. Some of the nice like suburbs.
You know, I was surprised to hear. I was at the table yesterday for the 1D, and a couple dealers and even a couple players. I overheard them speaking Gaelic to each other. I didn't realize it was like a. They mix it in.
It is an
it's
official
not like,
language.
Is it like, what do you think percentage of Irish people? I guess that's what the internet is for.
It's a bit hard there because actually the work house. I'm not like gonna invest in buying a 4-bed house or something. That's gonna be millions.
If you listen really closely, you can get investment advice from Benny Glazer.
I mean, millions is.
So we have had a raise from Pontos Pompan with King Jack. And look at this. Shane Carey in the big blind with aces. Toasted Shambo says a very small percentage. There are certain small parts of Ireland where it's spoken daily, but outside of those areas, it's not really spoken anymore.
Yeah, that's what I assumed, so I was surprised to hear it. But
Today is 15,000.
Poker Lawyer says, hey Griffin, I'm in Toronto too. Are you pumped for the new Toronto casino? Griffin is not in Toronto.
So not pumped.
He's actually in Dublin.
And also, I don't live in Toronto either.
I was coming to the fact that obviously your home is no longer Toronto. You do now live in Montreal.
I like Vegas.
You were snapping?
Oh, I've never been to Dubai. I would like to, but I had a couple of friends who like visited and played now.
So 622 players remaining. Now that field size we established earlier on is not confirmed. We think it's going to be close to 2,500 because there are some no-shows, some qualifiers who never took their seats. Their buy-ins will be added to the prize pool. So we're going to be looking at around 2,500 total entries. So by our estimations, assuming they pay 12.5%, just over 300 players are going to make the money. And that means you can expect the bubble to hit lace tonight. Probably get close to the money this side of the dinner break, maybe make the money after dinner. But yes, by the end of today, we will be paying players. I think by the end of today, we'll have gone through the post-bubble bust-out bonanza. I imagine we'll be ending the day with between 150, 200 players. Tomorrow we need to get down to the final table, Griffin, so we kind of need that field to thin during the late stages of day two.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of entries. This is a record-breaking Irish Open main event. Last year was just over 2,000 runners. This year closer to 2.5K. This structure, I'm not going to lie to you, not necessarily built for a field this big. And if we do want to get down to a single table tomorrow, if we do want to get down to 9, I think it could be a day that goes to the early hours. I think it could be a day that goes to maybe 3 a.m. That means rebooting YouTube streams. It also means being a little bit smart and making sure that maybe we stagger our start times so we don't burn anyone out.
Oh, glad we're not in Paris for this then.
Yeah.
Pass.
I was going to ask, is it...
I don't know what the solution is. Tobias Leknes saying it's bad to go from 200 to 9 with the structure in one day. And I hear you, but I don't know what the solution is. Do you shorten the levels? Do you strip out blind levels? You can't add a day.
I think a lottery elimination of one player per table, just to cut, you know, get 10% of the field out. Sorry, Benny. Forfeiting your chips.
I guess the alternative is that you remove that hard target to hit the FT on Sunday and say maybe we can come back with 2 tables, but I think that's to be discussed. And to answer the question from 4AF, why can't you add a day? Because everyone has planned their trip here based around this being a festival that ends on Easter Monday. A lot of people will basically come here for the Easter weekend, and they're going to be back at work on Tuesday. Would they ever consider speeding up the levels? I don't know. And I think I kind of feel a lot more confident talking about our events like the EPT, where I kind of have regular conversations with Toby Stone about solutions to these problems. This is not our event, and we have no real influence or control, or even we're not even in the conversations about how they're structuring this. I mean, we randomly had 20 minutes added to one of the breaks earlier on, and we knew nothing about it. So poker law, I get that, but I think you just take off work on Tuesday if you final table. The dealers are contracted till Monday. The venue is booked until Monday. The live stream crew is booked until Monday. I mean,
that all you got, James?
I imagine that if you said to the RDS, we need an extra day, they'd be like, no, there's another group coming in here.
Yeah.
Darkest Night says, when is the Hartigan free roll? 7 p.m. British summer time, so 2.5 hours from now. Password will be revealed on the stream 15 minutes before it starts. That's when registration opens. Late reg until 7:15. And yes, because we finagled it so that I could return for day 2, I officially made day 2, and that means you get your 15k free roll tonight. Rory, I'd like to think we could do this without Stapes.
What do you mean when you say British summertime? It's like
that's what I was scared
it's like an
of.
Eastern Standard, except it's in the summer they call it summer. What do you call it in the winter? Or is it just a
GMT?
GMT, and it changes.
Well, GMT, aka UTC, is like the main time zone that the UK and Ireland are on.
Okay, what does GMT stand for?
Greenwich Mean Time.
What?
Greenwich Mean Time.
Greenwich
because of the Greenwich Observatory.
Okay.
More commonly known perhaps as UTC, Universally Coordinated Time, but during the summer months,
it goes
the
up
clocks
or
go
back
forward, like, as they do everywhere else that observes daylight savings time, and so we are on British summertime, and I imagine on this side of the Irish Sea they probably prefer to call it Irish summertime, but same difference. Basically 1 hour behind Central European summertime, 5 hours
right, so that's why
of
most places in Europe are like 6 hours behind Eastern, or 6 hours ahead rather, and then
so
England is 5 hours ahead.
Back home right now, Griff,
yeah.
in Montreal, you are being on Eastern Daylight Time.
Well, Eastern Standard Time.
No, you're on Eastern Daylight.
EDT.
You're on EDT at the moment, right? You're not observing EST at the moment. You're observing EDT. So you are 5 hours behind at the moment.
Yeah.
But there was a time, there was a 2-week period where your clocks had gone forward and ours hadn't. So the time difference was only 4 hours.
Whoa. Time is a flat circle, man.
It's confusing because on this side of the Atlantic we use the S to stand for summer, and on your side of the Atlantic you use the S to stand for standard. So when we're on summertime we have an S, but when you're on summertime you don't have an S, you have a D.
Oh, that's very confusing.
Personally, I'd like us to eliminate the whole thing and stop fiddling with clocks twice a year, but...
Looking at the chips here, Tarosian with 76 big blinds, the chip leader. Parsons there with 57. Seen that Irish lad around quite a bit at some events. Plays pretty well. Pike and Glacier just below there. So not a ton of chips, but, you know, some room to work with.
What costume?
The information I was given.
In which way or when?
You doubled up out of it.
Race?
Okay, we've covered time zones. What else we got? You will see, by the way, the field has moved up. Not the actual number of players remaining, that's still going down and is at 608 right now, but the total field size, the total number of entries, and this includes re-entries, is 2,491, so very close to 2.5K. I imagine that is the final number. We will get that confirmed shortly, and I imagine pretty soon they will confirm the payouts and, crucially, how many will get paid, what a min cash is worth, and what the winner's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've got to expect that first place is going to be well over 400,000, maybe even close to 500,000. Yeah. This massive prize pool.
When you won in 2017, was it a 1K or a higher buy-in then?
So it was a 1K, and it had under 1,200, and it was 200,000 for first.
I think it was 4 o'clock. I think.
So yeah, maybe it'll be more like just over 400.
So players in the Scouts tournament, if you're looking to receive your seating assignment, step over here.
Kerry getting his fair share of big hands. Ace-King suited in early position. We are at the 1K, 2.5K blind level right now. His open is to 5,500. And Shamkuar's got ace-10 of spades.
Yeah, and he
is all in. Green triangle of death presented. He is going to get called. It's going to be a domination situation in Kerry's favor.
You're waiting for your seating assignment. All right, here we go. 100, 100 in the Scouts tournament. Dealers, please shuffle up and deal. 100, 100.
Ace-King is the favorite right now. Is still the favorite, although there are some chop-opportunities with that paired board.
Have we had a chop pot yet, James? We didn't have one on 1C.
On the live stream?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, is
it's over. No chop.
Yeah, no chop.
And the elimination of Shamkuar.
Yeah.
Nice hand.
So roughly 300 players to go before we hit the money, but a reminder that they have not yet confirmed how many will get paid. They've not yet confirmed the payouts.
All in Skiing says, come on, man, when do you ever see winner take all poker? I mean, the day we start seeing winner take all poker is the day we start putting poker players in cages. That's a shark cage reference for all my day ones.
Maybe. That hand I would have folded either way.
Couple more eliminations to tell you about. We've been keeping track of the big names in the field. Sadly, the man who was on the poster for the Irish Open 2023, 2017 finalist Fintan Hand, is no more. Fintan's been KO'd, along with an EPT champion, Ian Hamilton, who we saw win in London last October. Ian Hamilton has also been eliminated.
Glacier, I think, taking advantage of what appears to be a passive table chip leader. You know, a few hands ago, I saw a limp at it was the cutoff, the Queen 10 from the Frenchman and then folded to the just over 3x raise. So Benny, I think, would be aware of that.
I don't want to keep labouring the point, Griffin, but I'm also all for accuracy. I know that for many, many years we called Benny Glazer. But as he specifically reached out and said it's actually Glazer, and I'm now trying to correct people, we are going to stick with Glazer.
Okay.
Is it like whip? Is it like whip? Yeah, we did look into it.
Nice takedown for Benny Glazer as we proceed.
It's not the most reliable, but it's...
Yeah. I was looking at them a few years ago, and I was interested.
Yeah.
I never ended up getting one, though.
To sweat with. We have not seen Pompan's cards.
70, you have one white chip, is that? Oh, it's yellow, thank you.
Benny getting interested.
Less than 70, no? Ready?
With King 5 of diamonds.
70 is less, right?
60 plus.
Yeah, you know, you can work in hands like this for some late position 3-bets. Sometimes you have a blocker. It's nice to be against a stack like this one of 59,000 that's essentially forced to either shove or fold. If Ponpan has something like the ace-10 off, you know, or maybe something like king-jack, king-queen, these hands that are, of course, well ahead of king-5 but are raising because they think they can take it down pre-flop. You know, they have the blockers, but not a hand they're prepared to 4-bet all in with. So, you know, I mean, James, you play these things now. So, you know, you're sitting there and you open, you know, even ace-jack. You're not thrilled when you get 3-bet and you're going to have to put in that 4-bet all in. You know, you're going to have to do it against a player like Benny Glazer. Sorry, Lenny Glazer? Glazer. So I would love to see what Ponpan has. The cards do appear to be in the reader, so maybe we'll get some more information later in the hand. But this is, you know, going to be a tough spot. And this is why if you raise a hand like, you know, 2 6s here and you get 3-bet by the button, you need to be prepared to go all in. And there is the shove, and you're going to see the quick fold from Benny, who is hoping to just, you know, find Ponpan in sort of the bottom to middle of his range instead of the top. And we'll never know.
Mystery hand. Yeah, good advice there from Jacques watching on YouTube. Griffin, just say Benny.
Benny, I will. Yes.
Fold it around to Pompan, who is also out. Danny Pike, Benny Glazer both out. Nicholas Tarossian's got 9s on the button.
33.
Rory highlighting that Adam McCullough's on 323,000. Rory says, I have no idea what's going on. Come on, Rory, you've played enough tournament poker now to know that variance is a thing.
Actually, I had a lovely chat last night with Adam and Joe. Got to know him a little bit. Seemed like a real class act. As Kiri defends with the 9-7, I think this defend is fine. Obviously doesn't look very good here because Tarosian just somehow has 2 9s.
3.5.
And with that piece, Kiri's going to beat him into the pot.
I was going to say, before the bet was even verified, made the call, and maybe Kiri calls another bet here. Unless Tarossian slows down on the turn and checks behind.
I think it is a nice hand to slow down with. You block a lot of the draws. You know, if your opponent even has something like 10-jack, there you go, there's the winner.
What was the card that was shown?
7.
7?
Always coming.
Thanks.
Can anyone see a clock?
No.
No.
Isn't exactly. I really need to go to the bathroom.
We have a leaderboard.
If you really need the bathroom, Tom, I would say go, because you're not going to make it to the end of this level. You've got 35 minutes left until the break. It is something that I observed, and look, I don't like to complain. Who am I kidding? I love to complain. I think it's great that they put sport on the screens for people to watch, but yesterday I would have found it much more useful to know when the blinds were going up rather than watching someone hit a golf ball out of a sandpit. HB says, I love when you complain. Good, because I spend most of my time doing it.
Getting the hang of that, yeah.
Fewer than 600 players now, down to 596 in the Irish Open.
Did you get through on day 1C, Benny? Did you play 1B, or was that too late because of the 5K?
No, yeah, I skipped 1B.
Yeah.
Benny, of course, fresh off his high roller win here at the Irish Open for, I believe, a little over 100,000 euros.
It was the 5K, right?
That's correct. Rice.
See the phone? Yeah.
Under 20 big blinds. This is an easy peasy spot here, but maybe wants to give a little of an impression of a tough decision to really try to induce hands like this into calling a shove. I think it's probably still going to be too many chips. You know, this is still a very strong shove.
Ace-Jack offsuit is just so horrible in these situations.
Oh, mesh with the positions. You know, it is +2, but there's... Yeah, I think it's a call.
Well, he does make the call, and this is not quite a flip.
Yeah.
Martin Rice is a 2-1 favourite to double up here with queens against Danny Pike's Ace-Jack. Deal him, Zavi. 10-9-6. Ace of spades for Pike.
Ace of spades.
So a spade on the turn gives us the ultimate sweat.
Oh.
No, it's just the ace of diamonds for very little sweat at all.
Yeah.
And now Rice needs a queen on the river.
Oh, just when you see someone's
I'll
soul
take that
leave
now.
their body.
I'll take that now.
No queen.
Well played. Good luck.
Martin Rice KO'd.
Well played, Mark.
Yes, good luck, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Nice time, buddy.
Cheers.
Nice Santos, Mr. Pike. Two-tone.
Pike, more like spike an ace.
Oh, is it too late to get Griffin back in the tournament?
43, yeah.
I figured this is my only way to do that. See how much power you truly have.
What were the hands?
Queens. Ace queen.
I saw the ace and heard gasp.
And the screams.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat just said, ugly watch. Don't talk about James like that.
The Cartier Santos is one of the most iconic watch designs, and it is a thing of beauty.
Is that what you're wearing right now?
No, it's what Pike's wearing.
Oh, the thing.
The very first men's
Can I see what you're
wristwatch
wearing?
designed in 1904.
Can I see what you're wearing?
I'm wearing the Zin 105 UTC.
It's really pretty.
Thank you.
I like the band. Although I feel like maybe you should have gone with something like green for this trip, you know, like that would have been more...
I don't have any green watches.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a green rubber strap for the Panerai, though. I should maybe put that on yesterday instead of the...
Right.
Yeah.
Could've had it on the
There's
table and
enough
stuff.
green on